For 40 years, Catholic Charities has touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people in the Wabash Valley, providing food, clothing, shelter, and after-school programming. In 1980, the Terre Haute Catholic Charities Food Bank was established as a part of the National Food Bank Network Feeding America, serving both individuals and organizations regardless of religious affiliation. The food bank feeds the hungry in Clay, Greene, Knox, Park, Sullivan, Vermilion, and Vigo counties through a network of emergency food distribution member agencies and engages the region in the fight to end hunger. And we are in critical need for expansion to help better serve our community. You can help us in closing the meal gap.
A few years back, Feeding America, our national partner, conducted a study to determine how many meals are missed in our community over the course of a year. They came up with a number of 7.5 million meals were missed due to inability to access food.
The needs still exist, more so now than ever. That's not only evident in our everyday pantries, but our mobile pantries that we do in all of our 7 counties. The mobile pantries in the rural areas have shown an increase significantly too in the past year.
Well, I'm the director at Providence Pantry in West Terre Haute, and we service about 300 families in that area, and we're desperately in need of food, as most agencies are. And so we're very dependent on Catholic Charities to help us in our need. They produce almost all of our bread and our sweets and our produce. Tom goes along and gets as many canned goods as we need, and it really is a big savings for us, and it also helps for our area and our community.
It used to be that food pantries were for people of poverty, but now food pantries are working people. These are people that are just, one paycheck away from needing our pantries.
At Catholic Charities, it's not only a place where we come to get food, but it is the source for us.
If it wasn't for this place, we wouldn't be able to operate. We wouldn't be able to have the food for the people.
Without this place, I don't know what we'd do. Because not only do they help the children here, they help me too. Because like I said, I've got 3 special needs grandchildren that I got custody of, and I take care of them by myself. And let me tell you, this is a big help. They eat here, so I don't have to really cook them a supper.
I was a single mom and struggling to make ends meet. I did have a full-time job and a couple part-time jobs, but I just still, there was a gap there, and I was in the CODA shelter, ended up in the CODA shelter, and literally had the clothes on my back. And I had no idea that these facilities existed until CODA said, hey, you can get food at the food bank, Terre Haute Catholic Charities Food Bank. It was life-saving, life-changing. I managed to get back on my feet.
Oh yes, they help everybody that comes around. All these children that's here, they all need their supper. Because if most of them here, if they don't come here for supper, they don't get a good hot meal.
When it comes to food and our ability to feed people, I think we've proven that we're more than competent, more than capable of doing that. But we've got a capacity issue in our present location. And if we're ever going to try and really not just provide help, but really, and I mean really create hope, we need to expand.
With the space that we have, we're very limited to the amount of items that we can have. We just don't have the space here. So a bigger building would just, again, not only help us run more efficiently, but we can get more food to more people faster.
I definitely think that the larger it is, the more products they can have here, the more things we can get here.
On a daily basis here, it's not unusual for us to move a pallet 10 to 12 times out in our warehouse. We have incoming donations. We sometimes have to set them aside, move another donation that has came in just recently, and then put it in a place where we can actually access it.
And nothing can probably make you feel better than helping a child. And yet we know that children and seniors are some of the more vulnerable members of our society. They oftentimes rely on others to provide them with caregiving, companionship, a connection.
Well, they come here for supper every evening from 4:30. Then I don't have to fix supper, but it saves my bill. I tell you, my boy eats out of house and home. And they get a goodie bag every Friday evening so that they'll have something for the weekend. And it's really a good bag because it's canned soup and peanut butter and jelly and crackers. And so when they got them Vino sausages, they get it. And they really get a good bag.
We have the backpack program downstairs, which is one of my favorites anyway. We distribute lots of food to local children in need for the weekend who might otherwise not have it.
They'd much rather have something good to eat, nutritious, that's going to hold them over and fill their stomach and not have to worry about going to bed hungry at night.
And a little boy was really taking his time, very meticulous about how he was going about eating his meal. And for that day, the main course was a hamburger. And this, his preschool teacher had cut his hamburger in half, and he was taking his time at eating it. And Gary was, in his typical charming way, approached Matthew and said, "Hey, can I have the other half of your hamburger?" And Matthew's response was, "You know, I can't. I'm saving it for my mom." You know, that really shouldn't be the first thing on a child's mind, what mom and dad are going to have or not have for dinner that evening. Solving childhood hunger is within our reach. If we have the collective interest to do so, then we can do it.